Money loves you is a bold statement.
Mhm.
And, whether people seeing the title and hearing the title believe it or not, it's true. And I want them to believe it.
Yeah.
And we all have a personal relationship with money.
Mhm.
And if it's positive, that actually manifests into great things. But if it's not, that can be very problematic and create challenges for people.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman Podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am too. You got some awesome things going on. So let's jump right in, get us started. Tell us more about who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, I always go to entrepreneur first, just because this has been my whole life. I started my business when I was 23, in a very male-dominated world in financial services. And that company has grown into, we have 5 offices in Oregon. We have 20 team members, and we really help people build financial freedom and build financial independence. So it's a wealth management firm.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations on your success. But I know you didn't get there overnight. And that's one of the things that we like to touch on here on the show is the journey, right? What it
Oh,
takes
wow.
to build all of this to say, wow, I have several offices and I employ several people. I mean, talk about somebody just getting started listening to us and being like, that's never going to be me, or I don't even know how this is possible. But you are here to tell us it is possible. So I'd love for you to share more about the beginnings. What got you into this industry? Because like you said, male dominated, and you're such a ray of sunshine with your smile, and you're wearing yellow. If people are not seeing the video, you have some beautiful flowers behind you. So we definitely need a women's touch. So tell us more how you got into this.
Yes. Well, I realize now looking back that it was a very uncommon path, but I actually learned about stocks from my grandpa. I remember sitting on his lap while he was watching the TV and the ticker symbols were going by. So I was like, what is that? And I realized too, my parents have a very healthy money story. They talked about money, they talked about their investments. We weren't wealthy. We were just like average middle America. But they talked about it with myself and my brothers. And as soon as I got my first job at McDonald's, my dad sat me down, of course, after I bought my New Kids on the Block tickets, concert tickets. No, but I was making $5 an hour, and he's like, okay, you can spend some, but I want you to save some and invest some. And so he set me up with my very first mutual fund, and I would write out checks, $25 a month to go to those funds. And I don't think there's ever been a month since that I haven't invested.
Wow.
It just created this habit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I had an amazing business teacher in high school that talked about entrepreneurship, and I was a part of DECA, which is like this business club, and it just like stirred in me something. And so, fast forward, I moved to a very small town on the Oregon coast, got married at 19, and I thought, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I got a job at a local bank, which then led to me working in the investment department in the bank, where I got all of my licenses, my just training. And then 4 years later at 23, I left that and started my business, and it's grown into what it is today. I mean, it sounds easy, but it wasn't. You're right.
I know.
Yeah.
Talk about the highlights, and it's like it sounds like it's easy and it happened smoothly, and there were no doubts or imposter syndrome or whatever it is that we go through. But obviously there was. But that's so cool that your family already instilled this from a young age. But we know that's not the reality of lots of people, and that's why we need people like you to help us and educate us, I do want to jump in and talk about your book because I love the title of it, and I'm sure you share a little bit of this story and your upbringing in the book, and how you got into this and why you're so passionate about helping people with their finances.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you hit on so many things just right there. So yes, my new book, Money Loves You, is out now. You can find it on Amazon. And it really, I mean, Money Loves You is a bold statement.
Hmm.
And, you know, whether people seeing the title and hearing the title believe it or not, it's true. And I want them to believe it.
Yeah.
And we all have a personal relationship with money.
Mhm.
And if it's positive, that actually manifests into great things. But if it's not, that can be very problematic and create challenges for people. And people don't, it's hard to hear our own thoughts and how we talk to
Right.
ourselves about money. But I've heard it over 25 years of experience.
Mhm.
It's like, money is overwhelming. Money is hard. Money is stressful. I don't want to deal with money. I hate money. And I'm like, well, money loves you. Come on. So it's like this different perspective around how money can be a fuel and a friend and a power assist, and how to really dig into those beliefs we have around money. And if they are negative, how to transform them. And then kind of the back half of the book are like the practical steps of
Right.
how I've built my wealth, and
Hmm.
then how we're helping others do the same. So I think the difference between my book and some others is you're going to get the mindset stuff, but you're also going to get the practical stuff that I've done. Like it's the exact recipe to build an 8-figure net worth. So
Ooh.
I've got you.
I love it. No, it's a great
Yeah.
recipe, and I love that you included both. You know, something else that I was thinking about is, like you said, I have had a very healthy relationship with money, or a healthy money story, because we talk about this, especially in the entrepreneurial world. You know, what did your parents say around you when you were growing up? And many times, or all times, that's what dictates what our thoughts are. But then we learn in our journey that we can reframe those, we can reprogram those, and change those. And oftentimes we hear people say, I started from nothing and I had a very bad relationship with money and I changed that. But thank you for stepping out and saying, well, actually, I have not had such a hard time. My story is a healthy story, but I educated myself and I have heard many people and I've helped many people. We get to help people regardless of what our story is. So thank you
Yeah.
for stepping out and saying that. So what are some of the practical tips that you can share with us now that we covered a little bit, very surface level, of the mindset?
Yeah. Well, you said that, but you know, like, I feel like we need to rewind a little bit,
Okay.
because I did, you know, maybe it was like money came easy to me, but what didn't come into me was this, which is so much of the beginning of the book, is this self-love
Uh,
and the feeling of worthiness.
mm,
And so really what drove my success was this desire to prove myself to the world,
mm,
right? And so that, you know, I did have imposter syndrome. I talk about a story in the book where I was at the Wharton School of Business. I was taken there on all expenses paid, like to their executive education program. And I'm like, I could barely leave my hotel room because of the fear of, I don't belong here. I'm not smart enough.
mm.
And it was facing that fear and then realizing as the professors were talking to us, like, oh, I do have something to add here. I have real life
Yeah.
experience that I'm like, no, 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 what you're saying is not right. Here's how it is in the real world. And that was like the beginning of, I do know what I'm talking about. I do feel like I can contribute and add. And so it was figuring out how to get out of this chase of proving, and actually surrendering to like there's nothing that I have to do to prove myself. And that's the message of the first part of this book is like money loves you when you love you.
Mm, that's
And
powerful.
our self-worth must always be bigger than our net worth. And
Mm,
there's nothing that we have to do for our worth. Like we are already innately worthy. And
mm,
so, you know, that was the struggle for me is, you know, I had self-confidence, I had this self-esteem, I could go out there and do it, but I was also a very rugged individualist to like, watch me, I can do it. And so it was that shift to no, let's bring other people along and building the team and becoming, stepping into that role as CEO and leading, lots of journeys, lots of stories along that.
Well,
So
and this is such an important conversation too, I think, especially in the online space where I'm at and have been for several years, where many times people find validation in how much money they're making, except it's never enough. So
yeah,
instead of exactly what you're saying, love me first, they're
yeah.
just in this endless wild goose chase of, I even had a talk with my husband not so long ago where I was telling him about how much money I was making and feeling frustrated with whatever, and he's like, "But I don't understand this thing, entrepreneurship, because he has his job and he's fine with that. If you don't make more money than last month, then does that mean you're not relevant anymore?" Like it
Yeah.
really helped me with like, no, does that mean people are not going to hire you anymore? And nobody will know how much I'm making. It's all in
Right.
our heads and it's such a crazy
Yes.
world in there. So
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Really good.
So tell us more about the practical side. I know you're a
Okay.
firm believer in budgeting. There's so many things we need to cover.
Yeah. So there's a chapter actually called the anti-budget.
Ooh.
Ooh, right. So it's kind of a spin. Like I'm never going to tell you to not track your money because I do believe in tracking our money, but it's not with the spirit of lack or restriction or like what can't I do, which is normally what budgeting feels like. And so, I've watched clients, over my years just start and stop with their budget because either they're trying to be too complicated with it or they go off track. It's kind of like, going on a diet,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's like, oh, I already messed up, so might as well go all the way, right? And
totally.
it's true. It's true. So for me, how do we approach spending money? Because money is meant to
Mhm.
flow in, flow out. It's good to spend money. And so how do we approach this with joy and love and like have this empowered sense when we're spending our money? Because we get to decide how we spend it. And
Mhm.
we tend to just spend it aligned with our values.
Mm.
So our spending, if you open up, like go look right now at your bank account or your credit card statement the last 30 days and just say, with a curious mindset, how have I spent this money? Like, did it bring me joy? Do I not even remember what I spent at Target
Yeah.
or at the grocery store? Like, there are some things that are like just make me really annoyed. I have 3 kids, so it's like, how did we even spend this much money? And there's also comfort expenses like our mortgage, our rent payment, things we are always going to have to spend money on, and they bring comfort to us. So there's 3 categories: joy, comfort, annoyance. And the idea is, how do you look at those annoyance costs and say, can you cut costs here and move them into the joy?
Mm.
And your future financial self, your financial independence should be in the joy bucket. And
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times we disconnect what our future self needs. And so we don't put our future self as a priority for the now.
Let me take a quick second to talk to you if you're serious about your visibility. If you really want to take your visibility to the next level, your business to the next level when it comes to visibility without hiring a PR agency, then you need to check out my More Visibility Mastermind. This is a 6-month container, an intimate container with 15 students max, where we get down and dirty with your business, in your business, and I help you really expand your reach. We look into your content strategy, into your speaking strategy, your networking strategy, and as a group or also at a VIP level, we really create a visibility strategy for you. Because here's the thing, if you don't have a solid visibility strategy, you are not helping as many people as you could with your gifts and with your expertise. So go on ahead in the link in the show notes and submit an application and get notified when the doors open next.
But the more that we can emotionally connect to what we want in the future, the more that's going to be a priority today. And you're going to I value putting money into my retirement. I value getting out of debt.
Mm.
And that's going to drive the the decision, right?
Yeah.
That's going to drive what you do, your action, much more than trying to follow a budget. Do you
Yeah.
see? Yeah.
Totally. And it's very individual. So I love that you encourage people to look at their values because the way I spend my money is most likely not the same way that you spend your money. And even with a spouse, right? We have different patterns. We value things differently. So to me, paying 100 and some dollars or however much for this is totally worth it. But for him, it probably is not. So vice
Exactly.
versa. So taking a look at the values will help you see the patterns and make changes to help
Yeah.
yourself, but also to find things that you want to spend on that actually bring you joy instead of regretting it. So I love that. That is so cool.
Yes, yes. So that's a really fun. I have a tool that you can download on my website that will help you with that. But
Okay.
and I find once you feel empowered with and excited about how you're spending your money,
Mhm.
again, it kind of takes care of itself. Like you know where your money's going, you feel good about your purchases, and you know you're on track. I think another tool is one of the biggest questions we get as advisors is how much money do I need to be financially independent, or how much money do I need to retire? Well, just like you said, we're all individuals.
Mm.
So we can't really answer that question, but there's what's a freedom number is the
Right.
practical tool, but it's actually an exercise that I walk readers through to get them to their number, and their number is unique to them.
Love that. Mm.
And then that's they know what they're shooting for.
Okay.
So,
Well, it sounds like everybody needs to go and read your book because so many tools and practical steps, and at the end of the day, to really foster that good relationship with money, like you said. If you have a positive or negative relationship with money, it's going to show up. So might as well invest some time into looking into it. And you do have another resource on your website that talks about some hidden wealth myths.
Wealth busters.
Yeah. So what are some of the things? Obviously, you're not going to share all of them because we want people to go and check it out. I'll put the link in the show notes. What are some of the bigger ones, or which ones pop up that you can share with us?
Yeah, I feel like if you ignore your money, like that's a wealth buster, or I avoid looking, like I don't want to peek under the hood. I don't want to look at my credit card statement. I don't want to see the truth. Uh, and so, or money stresses me out, or I'm too busy. Like we're all too busy
Yeah.
nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And here's the deal, that stress is taking mind share away from your potential. And so, these statements are all wealth busters that we can get in a cycle. So I'm not good enough, or I'm not smart enough, or money is the root of all evil. If
Mm,
you're connecting to any of these statements,
mm,
then I would really encourage you to download my free guide, 31 Hidden Wealth Busters and what to do about them.
mm.
And I actually take you through a 7-step process, and then how to shift and let go of those limiting beliefs and replace them with wealth beliefs.
Mhm. Love those.
So
Awesome.
it's really powerful. If you're willing to do the work,
Yeah.
take a little bit of time up front and invest in yourself and just be willing to have that shift. Financial freedom for you can happen in an instant. It's that
Mm.
moment you decide to take control of your financial future.
Mhm. And it starts with letting go of that denial. And I think we experience this on so many levels in different areas of our lives, right? Being like, oh, everything is fine. But something inside of you knows it's not. And it's just not wanting to handle, not wanting to look. And you're giving us so many reasons to start looking at it and checking it out and making a change for the best. So I love that. I would love for you
Yeah.
to share with us some of your client stories or the people that you work with. I'm sure you have so many with all your different branches and your offices. Who do you work with primarily, and are there any stories you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I have some fun stories,
Yeah.
and but I just have to share with what you just said. There's a lot of guilt and shame around money,
Yeah.
and so really being able to um, come to the topic of money and be willing to just release all of that. And so I think this book is not about teaching from a shame or a fear spot. It's just coming with unconditional love to meet you where you're at and just hold that. And that's our approach with clients too. So, we're not a wealth management firm that, will only work with clients that have $1 million. We're actually a very we want to help people that want to be helped. And so we have a financial planning membership model that actually meets those people, couples, individuals, business owners, and really guides them along and is their partner and mentor. And so one story that comes to mind is an entrepreneur that, she had her own business. And she just felt like, she was not getting ahead. She had, I think, 4 employees. She always felt like she was working to keep her employees, working to pay the bills, working. And as entrepreneurs, we didn't start our business to make everyone else wealthy. We did that for us too. Like, there's a balance there. And so through coaching and mentoring and guiding her, we helped her get out of debt. That's usually step 1. If that's important, that was important to her. And then actually start building wealth outside of her business. Wow. So yes, your business is usually your first and biggest investment, but there also has to come a point where you say, okay, how do I then pay myself? And how do I build wealth over here as an individual or a family and still build a successful business as well? Mm-hmm. So
that's powerful.
That was really fun. Yeah, she was able to, get rid of 6 figures of debt in, I think, 18 months. It was really cool. And then kind of on her way.
That is incredible. And that's a big concern as a business owner, for sure. You grow, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're hustling to get more clients to be able to pay your employees and team members and handle the expenses. And it's like, well, that's not why I started this. How do I get out of this? So thankfully there's people like you and your amazing team to help. And that's the thing. We need somebody outside of our world and that is an expert to take a look and see what's going on and guide us through it. Oftentimes, what is it that they say? We can't see the label from inside the bottle, so we need somebody.
Exactly. I actually quote that in my book. I love that.
Oh,
it's hard to read the label when you're inside the jar. Yeah. That's so true. And yeah.
Usually that's what we say. That's why people hire us, which is your case here. But then for all the business owners, understanding the importance of somebody to help you with your finances in this sense is whatever you're telling your clients, you probably need to hear it as well. So take your own advice and go find somebody to coach you and help you through it. Oh my gosh. I love that you're helping people like that.
Yeah, and hold you accountable, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I have found. And too, this another situation that popped up, it's like, between partners in a relationship, you have to make sure you get on the same page with money. If you're not, to have someone else as a facilitator and help guide you as a couple for alignment is really powerful too. Like, yes, the money part gets better, but the relationship, the intimacy, all of that is just really enhanced because you can talk about these taboo subjects and it kind of opens the gate to other things too.
Yeah, and it strengthens a relationship. I think anytime we focus on a relationship in our lives, it helps us with other relationships, right? Because then we have to get curious about how we're thinking. We have to really let go of the denial piece, like what we were talking about, and then understand, wow, this is affecting, everything is interconnected, right? This is affecting how I treat my kids, what I'm telling my kids about money. So here's another incentive for our listeners is whatever work you do on yourself in terms of how you handle money, you're passing it along.
Totally. Okay. Yes. Like my kids haven't read my book yet, but they've been part of this journey of writing it and made me think my middle daughter is doing some fundraising and she was out there and she was telling the people she was trying to get money from. It's okay. Money loves you. If you donate, money's going to come back to you. And I'm like, where did that come from? Oh, yeah, of course she would say that.
Even if she doesn't fully understand it, she's hearing the message. Yes. That's what matters and passing it along. Yes. That's so wonderful. I love that. I love that they're growing up with somebody like that. So all of us, especially entrepreneurs, we get to change. We are molding, right, and forming our kids' money stories. We're the actors.
Absolutely.
In this story. So even though we can't control what happened when we were growing up, we can absolutely control what happens while they're growing up. So that's great incentive. I love that so much. Well, before you share with us how to connect with you, everything's going to be in the show notes, but I'd love to ask you my $1 million question, which is very fitting for our conversation. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
So, Julia, what is an empowered woman then?
Oh man, an empowered woman is on fire, on her purpose, on her like for me it feels like it's that soul work, like what you're called to do. Putting money aside, but it's like this on purpose. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Well, and I would add on your behalf is a woman that knows that money loves her.
Well, yes, of course. Thank you. Absolutely.
Beautiful. I love that. Well, tell us how to find you, your website, where you hang out on social media, that people can connect with you, learn more about your work and your book.
Sure. So all things are on my website, Julia M, as in money, Carlson dot com. And then, my favorite social is Instagram. So that's where I enjoy spending time. And I run my personal Instagram. So you can DM me there, and happy to answer questions or just support you.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. Congratulations on all your success and the publishing of your book. I know it'll change many lives. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you've enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.